Okay, good evening, everybody. The hour of 7 has come by a couple minutes, so I think we'll call this meeting to order. Just before we get into the crux of the meeting and call everything to order, I would ask council and our guests, if they so wish, we'll bow our heads for a moment of silent reflection. Okay, thank you. All right, moving on then. Is there any additions to the agenda? Okay, then a motion would be in order to confirm the agenda as it was presented. Do we have a mover and seconder for that? Councillor Foster, Councillor O'Donnell, all those in favor? Opposed, if any, that's carried. Does anybody have a conflict of interest with anything on the agenda? Okay, moving on, if you find you're treading in fairly hot water as the night goes on, you can always declare it at that time. We have a number of items on the consent agenda. We have, as a matter of fact, 7 items on the consent agenda. Is there anything there that anybody would like pulled and dealt with separately, or just would like some more clarification on it? Okay, I don't see any hands going up. So the recommendation that I have is that the Council of Municipality of West Perth accept consent agenda items 4.1 to 4.6 for information, and the minutes of October the 20th, 2025 regular meeting and October the 27th special meeting be adopted. We have a mover and seconder, moved by Councillor Harold, seconded by Councillor Duck. All those in favor? Opposed, if any, that is carried. So we do have a fairly busy night tonight. We've got a few delegations. So the first item in the program, and it's listed under delegations, is the Athlete of the Year for 2025 and 26. And I'm going to make my way over to the side here, and we will take it from there. And these are mine to take. Yeah, okay, very good. There's a couple chairs here. By all means, make yourself at home. And it's not like church. We have to go to the very back, you know. Anyways, welcome for the presentation of the female and male athlete of the year. Just want to give a little bit of background. It was kind of reinitiated a year ago, and a committee was put in place. And the committee consists of Andy Bader, Nick Larson, and Ryan Duck from council. And they were the ones that kind of go through all the names and decide who should be the successful male and female athlete of the year. So we're going to get started, I guess. And process, I will read the information that I got. I was going to say your bio, but it's really not a bio. It's just all the good stuff that you've done. I will read that, and then I'll ask you to come up. I'll give you the plaque, and then we'll do the female first, and then we'll do the male. And then there'll be an opportunity for pictures after the presentations. And then I would ask that I think it works best. Council will stand, and I'll just ask you to go around, and all of council will congratulate you. So that's kind of the process we're going to use. And you're welcome to stay afterwards, but I know if you don't have chairs, you're probably not going to stay for too long. Okay, so our 2024-25 Female Athlete of the Year is Lucy Moses. Lucy is an exceptional multi-sport athlete who shines in softball, volleyball, baseball, track and field, cross country, all the while maintaining an impressive 93% average at Mitchell High School. She's known as a quiet but confident leader who lifts her teammates and leads by example, both on and off the field. In softball, Lucy earned a top player award at the U15 Tier 2A Provincials. Throughout the season, she recorded over 200 strikeouts as a pitcher. The Jays will be after her, won't they, eh? a .3 batting average and 6 home runs, including 1 over the fence home run, helping her team capture bronze, provincials, and silver at the qualifiers. She's also attended elite development camps for volleyball and softball with athletes from around the country. Beyond her own successes, Lucy gives back through volunteering with youth and adult sports programs, inspiring others with her humility, work ethic, and leadership. So at this time, I would ask Lucy to come up and receive her plaque. I got a plaque and a little bit of a diploma here for you. Make sure I give you the right one. There we go. Okay. So here's your plaque. And here's a little plaque. Okay, very good, very good. So our male athlete of the year is Cale Murray. Cale has demonstrated exceptional dedication and work ethic, consistently training in the gym, on the field, and with specialized programs year-round. A proven leader, he motivates teammates throughout effort, positively, and a team-first attitude. Despite only recently joining the OACAA, Cale made an immediate impact, earning 2024 OCAA Rookie of the Year, OCAA All-Star Second Team, Lambton College Rookie of the Year, and Pitcher of the Year honors, while also being one of Lambton's top hitters and helping secure a silver medal at the 2024 OCAA Championships. A former captain in both high school baseball and basketball, Cale's leadership extends beyond athletics. He is respected for his strong character, consistent pursuit of improvement, and meaningful contributions to his community. His outstanding first year in OCAA baseball reflects both his individual talent and his commitment to elevating those around him. Congratulations, Cale, and come on up and get your award. Congratulations. Go, and here you go. So I would ask, where did Lucy go? If you want to come up, and we'll give the parents and Jenna's here as well. Yeah, come on up. And I can step back if you want. I mean, look at it a little closer. Good. Okay, council, you're in action. So I would just come around this way. Let them. Congratulations. So again, let's give these couple a round of applause. So certainly a job well done. Thank you very much. You're free to go, but you're welcome to stay. How does that sound? Excuse me, our next delegation is from the County of Perth, and we have Tyler Sager, the Perth County Clerk, as well as Marvin Smith, the Perth County Forest Inspector, and we have Darrell Harwick, also the, I'm going to get this right, prosecution. Okay, I said, like I talked to him before the meeting and he said, it's a pleasure to meet you. And I said, well, it's even a pleasure not to meet you. Okay, the floor is yours, Tyler, and welcome.
Perfect. Through the mayor, hello, council, and thank you for having us here today. I'm Tyler Sager, County Clerk. As you mentioned, Mayor McKenzie. Joined with me in the back is Marvin Smith and Daryl Howerlick, the prosecutor. So today we're presenting an update on Perth County's Forest Conservation Bylaw 3836/2021 to kind of review the process as well as gathering feedback on the proposed bylaw. So this part here is actually a lower tier consultation roadshow as directed by County Council. So let me see and make sure this works. Thank you, Avery. So onto this slide here, just let me start with some context about why this bylaw matters. Perth County's Forestry Conservation Program exists to regulate tree destruction and injury with the goal of improving our forest, soil, fish, wildlife, and water resources. The reality is concerning. Perth County has only 9% forest coverage. To put that in perspective, our neighbor Huron County has 16%. We have significantly fewer woodlots than comparable regions in southwestern Ontario, and this makes the protection and proper management of our existing forested areas critically important. I'm going to give another shot. Okay, did that work or is that you? That was you. Okay, thanks. So we're not doing this in a vacuum. The Forestry Act of 1990 defines good forestry practice as the proper implementation of harvest, renewal, and maintenance activities that minimize harm to the ecosystems, wildlife habitat, soil, and water quality, inclusive of forest productivity and recreational opportunities. Additionally, the Municipal Act of 2001, Section 270, requires municipalities to adopt and maintain policies for protecting and enhancing tree canopy and natural vegetation. So this isn't optional, it's a legislative responsibility. Next slide, please. So a little bit of a walkthrough of how we got here today. So the slide does kind of show a bit of a timeline here. I'll break down a little bit of what is showing. So back in March of 2024, Council directed the Agricultural Working Group to review the existing bylaw. It then moved to the Ag Working Group and assisted by staff to research and reach out to comparator municipalities, particularly Oxford County. This was regarding the appeal and exemption process on behalf of the Agricultural Working Group. In July of 2024, the working group received the detailed municipal comparison and analysis. And then the working group in December presented that update to the comparison and the feedback, which then made its way back to the final recommendations in April of 2025. Next slide. So where are we at today? So kind of moving forward, but also kind of looking back to see where we got to. The Agricultural Working Group submitted all of their information and report to County Council with the proposed updates. In June of 2025, County Council received everything and then directed staff to consult with all lower tier municipalities to receive feedback, as well as host a public open house. So that'll be coming forward, and I have a slide on that in the future. So that's where we're at today, is the consultation roadshow to receive feedback from the lower tier municipalities, as well as get the information flowing out to the public that we will be having an open house in December. Perfect, thank you. So municipal bylaw comparison. Council asked the Agricultural Working Group to review the forest conservation bylaw from Oxford, Huron, Wellington, and Chatham-Kent counties. And then they went above and beyond that and also looked at Middlesex, Bruce, and Grey counties to kind of give more of a comprehensive picture of best practices. The full municipal comparison and literature review was included as an attachment on the June 5th County Council report, sort of the agenda. And if anybody would like that, it's publicly available, and I'd be happy to send it off to James for circulation if required. Next slide. Perfect. So looking at the overview of kind of the proposed changes, there's four main categories that were reviewed by the Agricultural Working Group and presented to Council, and that's what's before Council today, is definition clarification, so adding orchards and Christmas tree farmers to the definitions. Second was a windbreak addition, to make an explicit definition to be part of the bylaw. 3 was housekeeping, a consolidation of previous amendments. And then 4 was the main piece of the exemption appeal process. So kind of breaking that down a little bit more, we'll go to the next slide and look at the proposed definitions with a little bit more detail. So the definitions are listed there. Again, they form part of the report, and they are in the draft bylaw that is in front of Council as well. But I think it's just important to note that these clarifications are very important because they help landowners understand what is and is not regulated by the bylaw, or at least the proposed draft bylaw. Next slide. So speaking of definitions, there was the definition of woodlot, which exists and remains in the draft bylaw. The only addition to this bylaw was the addition of windbreak. So the addition of windbreak is actually an exclusion, much like the cultivated orchards and Christmas tree plantations. So this ensures that we're regulating natural woodlots while also not impeding on the legitimate agricultural operations, just to include that windbreak is added to that definition. Thank you. Perfect. So looking at the next edition for definitions, it's committee. So we would add the definition for committee, which refers at the county level as a land division committee or other similarly constituted committee designated by county bylaw. This definition is necessary if council does approve a draft bylaw with the exemption appeal process included. So we're proposing that it is a committee that already exists that would review all those exemptions or appeals. Thank you. Next here is the consolidation of previous amendments, very housekeeping. There's two amendments that are on here that are shown here. And if we go to the next slide, it just shows within the draft bylaw the proposed changes there. So again, very housekeeping. Thank you. Next slide. Thank you. So the proposed forestry bylaw exemption appeal committee decision, this is a significant addition that's being proposed as an exemption appeal process modeled after Oxford County's approach. So when we look at this, just kind of breaking it down step by step, an applicant must first submit a notice of intent. This is a regular process that we have, and then receive a decision from the officer, which is Marvin Smith. After that is completed, if they disagree or need an exemption, then they can appeal to Land Division Committee. The committee would then hear the applicant, any kind of community input, and officer expertise before making and rendering a decision. As noted there on the last bullet point, that the committee could grant the exemption, they could grant it with modifications, or they could refuse it outright. But this process here provides a fair, transparent process to the community while allowing community input and also maintaining protection of the forest resources that we have within the county. So again, just kind of highlighting just as a visual of what I've just explained, working from the notice of intent number 1 all the way to the committee decision number 9. So just a visual representation of slide 13 that I just previously completed. Excellent. So while we look at this next slide here, this is the open house information. So we're hosting a public open house on December 10th. So it's December 10th, 2025 from 6 to 8 p.m. And it'll be housed at Perth East Recreation Complex in Milverton. So we'll have staff present. They'll be available for questions. We do have feedback. We are looking at some frequently asked questions that we can have provided to the public as well. So if any individual can't make the December 10th meeting, that's okay. We do have available a survey or a public feedback form on our website that we encourage everybody to use. So if there's any feedback regarding the draft bylaw, please go to our website, www.perthcounty.ca/forestry. And we'd be happy to take any feedback as we move along this process. So we just want to make sure that everybody has an equal opportunity to either come on December 10th or fill out the feedback form. So next steps, kind of just a little bit of a reiteration, but we're completing all of the lower tier road shows, doing the consultation at every lower tier, and we wrap that up November 17th in North Perth. And then we have the public open house on that December 10th date. And then the feedback form, if you will be closing on December 17th. So even after we're allowing a week, that if anybody has any additional thoughts after the public open house, they can provide those feedback information to us within the week. That'd be great. And then the intent is to come back in early 2026. So Q1, return to County Council with a proposed final version of the draft, incorporating all of the lower tiers as well as public feedback and any other consultation that we'll have with other individuals. So that completes my portion, trying to keep it within 10-minute timelines. But I will hand it over to Daryl if he would like to come forward and give a brief overview of the prosecution process.
Well, first thing I want to say, Council, is in my defense, I've lost 4 puppies already. And so by November 11th, I should go through a dozen, maybe 2. Just very quickly, I'm appointed by county council pursuant to an agreement that I provide prosecutorial services in accordance with some standards that are dictated by the provincial government, by the Ministry of the Attorney General. The process is pretty straightforward. Marvin Smith is the weed and tree inspector. If he believes that there are some grounds for prosecution, he'll send me information. I'll review that information and may or may not decide that the facts warrant a prosecution. If for some reason charges are laid, then the court process is engaged. And the defendants are entitled, of course, to the presumption of innocence. So the burden is on the prosecutor, in this case, the County of Huron, to prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt. If there is a finding of guilt, then the court considers what's an appropriate penalty. In doing so, the single most important consideration is general deterrence. In other words, trying to send a message to the public generally that this behavior will be severely and seriously dealt with. I can tell you that since 2021, the county has prosecuted 11 cases. The average fine has been about $5,000 plus a surcharge imposed by the province. Most recently, I prosecuted a case in a neighboring county this fall, and the total fines levied against one particular defendant totaled $400,000. So in the appropriate case, that doesn't include the victim surcharge of 25%. So in the appropriate case, these can be very significant cases involving people. So going forward in my role as prosecutor, I'm now taking a second look at the kinds of fines that this county may impose in terms of asking courts to impose larger fines. In terms of the purposes and the reasons for the bylaw, Tyler's covered that in detail. I don't need to address that. But if any member of council has any questions about the prosecutorial end of things, I'm certainly here to respond to those questions. I don't see any hands up, so.
Well, I'll just hold a minute. Huh?
All right.
Thanks, Carol, thanks, Tyler. Any questions for either one of these gentlemen? Councillor Vink?
Mayor McKenzie, I'm a little confused in the package that was circulated for us to review. Windbreak means a linear tree planted line regardless of area. And then tonight, it's something different. So I'm either confused or disappointed or both.
That would be a question most appropriately answered by the tree inspector. So Marvin, step forward and.
Sure. Go ahead, Marvin.
My suspicion is what it is there were two packages probably that you received. One, I believe, was from a delegation. And the one in the delegation said regardless of area.
Mhm.
The one from the county, that's not in the county's bylaw.
Through
That
the-
was in a delegated.
Through the
Yeah.
chair, included in your agenda package are materials from the delegation, and as commented by Marvin there, you're referring to the materials from the delegation, and the bylaw materials are part of the county portion of the package. So the definition you
So
read comes
there is-
forward in item 5.3, which will be addressed in the next item.
The windbreak definition in the bylaw that the county is proposing does have an area limitation of 0.2 hectares or 1/2 acre. Anything, a windbreak less than that is not included, not enforceable by the county bylaw, but anything over that amount is 1/2 acre or 0.2 hectares.
When you say, Mayor McKenzie, when you say is in the future sometime, we're talking
Oh, no,
about
it
it.
always has been. Always has been.
Then I'm still really confused. And why would the delegation material say regardless of area if it's always been the case, Mayor McKenzie?
Well, I guess you may be going to have to wait to the next delegation, and that'll be a question for them. But what Marvin is saying here, this is the county bylaw. What you were looking at is what the second delegation has submitted, and they've made some changes. And we maybe should have had that highlighted a little different, that this was the
Yes.
second delegation.
Thank you. My apologies. I understand now. I didn't understand that one before.
So do we can go around the bend again. Do you need a little more explanation?
Well,
But I think
now I need-
Marvin did a good job.
Now I need some time to read the bylaw that was handed out tonight in front of us.
Through the chair, that bylaw's in your package.
Can you show me where that was or?
Yep, that is item 5.2 of your package. Report. And then on to 5.3.
This one's not highlighted. This one
Yeah.
has red and blue in it. It's not.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
All right,
good. We're
carry
good,
on.
Nicholas?
Thank you, Mayor McKenzie.
Okay, other questions? Counselor Foster?
But don't go too far. Yeah, mine's in the same vein. How does the county come up with the area? If a windbreak is a row of trees, how wide does it decide a windbreak is? Because a length of a farm to be a half acre, one row of trees, if it's over 6.5 feet, is a half of an acre. Right? So how does the county come up with the area that a tree covers?
How is the area measured?
Yes.
Okay, in practice, what generally happens when I'm looking at them is I take the area measured in width from the cultivation point on one side to the cultivation point on the other side. And the area that is in field cultivation is not included in the windbreak. That's in practice what usually works the best. Does that answer the question?
Yes, and if I could have another, Walter.
Counselor Foster.
What's the reasoning for defining a windbreak then, if in practice, if someone plants a windbreak that goes the length of a farm, after it grows for 10 years, it's a bush, even though it was never instituted for that purpose? Like, what's the point in defining a windbreak as anything different when it's treated the same once it's to any size of a windbreak?
The windbreak definition was included in the bylaw this time because there was direction by county council to have a windbreak definition. It was never included in the bylaw before, but there were questions that were raised, such as your questions. So that's why it was specifically identified and included as a definition.
If I may add, so correct. Because of the shape of windbreak, often it's not considered to be woodland. But depending upon how many trees are involved and the size of it, could fall with the definition protected by the law. And so the proposal now is that if it is a windbreak, that'll be dealt with a bit different.
Yeah, and further to that, I think just for clarification, when we discussed the definition of woodlots, is that the woodlot definition would now actually exclude windbreaks. So windbreaks would be included much like or worked just the same as cultivated orchards and tree plantations. So it's actually an exclusion out of that.
So it comes down to what is a windbreak? What is a windbreak? Sometimes, because the burden is on the prosecution to prove something beyond a reasonable doubt, if there's any reasonable doubt about whether it's a windbreak or not, it would be. That would be my call.
Okay, one more, go ahead.
I'm hoping this is a final wrap up.
No, that's fine. Just going to make a point here that when, and I'm kind of looking at Daryl more than anybody, when you speak, we'll just move the mic over because I can hear, but people behind won't be able to hear, or people that are watching it on YouTube won't be able to hear. So go ahead, Counselor Foster.
When the idea is to exempt windbreaks from the bylaw and we're defining what a windbreak is, what's the reason to include the area standard then? Because you could have a 200-acre lot that goes the concession through. And if there's 2 rows of trees on both sides of the farm, there would be nearly 2 acres of wood lot, arguably on the side, even though they're windbreaks.
Right. So through the mayor, to the councilor's question, I think the important piece here is that if it goes above that the size limit, and that's why we decided the size limit, is it wouldn't actually constitute a windbreak anymore. Is it would be looking whether or not it would actually be a wood lot or a woodland, depending on the size. So that's where and why we regulate the size of it, because if it extended beyond that size, then it's no longer a windbreak, it becomes a wood lot or woodland, depending on how large it is.
Deputy Mayor?
Yep, through you, Mayor McKenzie, to assist with the answer of Councillor Foster's question. I sit on the Perth County Agricultural Working Group as the chair. And as Tyler pointed out, County Council instructed the Ag Working Group to come back with recommendations for the forestry bylaw. Part of the discussion amongst the Ag Working Group, and it was a very rigorous discussion over a number of meetings. The concept of making a size definition on the windbreaks was twofold. For future planting of future trees in a windbreak configuration, there was discussion at the working group about the future of those planted trees. So to sum up the discussion, the conclusion that the working group came to was that if we put size definition was made, then anything planted that was under that limit would not fall under the definition of the windbreak and could be managed by the landowner in any way that they choose. But once you reach that threshold or exceed it, and I think Mr. Smith can confirm this, once you meet that threshold or exceed it, then that planting of trees is subject to the forestry bylaw. So that's why for future plantings, we were trying to provide clear definition both for the landowner as well as county staff and the prosecutor on how to handle those cases. Now, in the case of trees that are already planted, as Mr. Smith had mentioned in one of his previous answers, it's always been a windbreak under the current bylaw. So I don't know if Marvin, if you had anything further to add to that or not.
Yeah, maybe just to clarify, once it's over 1/2 acre, 0.2 hectares, it becomes a woodlot. If it's a linear planting of trees less than 1/2 acre or 0.2 hectares, it now is under the definition, or the proposal is to be under a definition calling it a windbreak. Just to clarify it for prosecution purposes. So the more important thing is the size. 1/2 acre, 0.2 hectares, same thing. Once it's over that, it falls into the woodlot definition and is protected by the bylaw. And it just is a question of making sure there's a legal definition there too, so that people understand.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Vink again? Go
Mayor
ahead.
McKenzie, through you, may I ask then a hypothetical question? So we would allow harvesting of trees in a forest of a certain size. So if the windbreak tree reaches a certain size, then we would allow harvesting of the windbreak trees that have reached a certain size, because it would be a wood lot that could be harvested then.
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
Any trees in a woodlot or woodland can be harvested according to sections 2 and 3 in the bylaw. Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Deputy Mayor again?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, question for Daryl. When Perth County staff have issued a report to you and you make a decision on prosecution, at that point, can you confirm that at that point, nobody on Perth County staff or on Perth County Council can intervene in that case? Like once it reaches your desk, nobody else can intervene on that matter.
Yes, it's my decision on whether to proceed with the prosecution, and so I will receive the information from primarily Marvin Smith, and based upon the information that I receive, I'd have to make a judgment call. That is, and there has to be a dividing line so that the prosecutorial process is independent of counsel, and so ultimately the decision is mine to make. And and I do so to the best of my ability.
Thank you. No further questions.
All right, go ahead, Councillor Cecil.
In our bylaw, why do we further define what woodlots are from woodlands? Like, what is the advantage to the further definitions?
I'll take that one. So the difference is actually a matter of jurisdiction. So the county has jurisdiction over woodlands, and the lower tier municipalities have jurisdiction over the woodlots. And so what we've done to date is that the lower tier municipalities have the jurisdiction to convey that jurisdiction over woodlots to the county for the purposes of prosecutions. So and so what's happened is all of the lower tier municipalities have in the past passed a bylaw transferring the jurisdiction over woodlots to the county so that they can exercise the prosecutorial and oversight of the county tree bylaw to both woodlands and woodlots.
Anybody else? Okay.
Hopefully it saves money.
Okay, I want to thank the three of you for coming and explaining this tonight. We appreciate the information you provided tonight. So, and I believe, do you have one more place to go yet tonight or not? No, you're just coming here. Okay, well, thank you very much. Appreciate your information. All right, moving ahead, the next on the agenda, 5.3, is a delegation from Gerald Kochman and Henry Koskamp. So I'll ask the two of you to come up. And the floor is yours. Only thing I ask is you hit the button on the mic and the light will come on and then we can all hear you. There should be, yep, you got her. Very good. It's all yours.
Fellow our councillors, we're grateful for the opportunity to present what we've been working on. We are grateful that there is going to be a public consultation on the proposed draft tree bylaw. And we've been working, Henry and I have been working on, we would prefer if you view what we have worked on as a whole rather than as amendments. We have included and left in a lot of the existing bylaw or the proposed draft bylaw the way it is. We have highlighted the changes in bold, in black. So you'll see that those are the changes. Everything else, what's in gray is the same. Okay. So first of all, this bylaw affects mostly farmers. So this affects the agricultural community. So we're creating a bylaw that affects farmers mostly. Okay. And to get buy-in from the agricultural community, you have to build trust, confidence. You know, you have to get that. So this is, I'm going to return to this trust thing, this trust that runs through what we've proposed, because we proposed a cooperation and partnership, and we believe in planting trees. Okay, so we encourage tree planting, but you're not going to get trees planted if you, on the one hand, provide maybe financial incentives to do so, but on the other hand, discourage it by, for instance, planting windbreaks would be probably the most common thing that is going to occur, okay, with trees. And now you hamstring any landowner that might want to plant a row of trees, and you hamstring it by putting a size limit on it. So we're proposing that the area, like the definition of windbreak, and you'll see it in the document that is in front of you, of what we, the definitions of what we consider is a tree windbreak and the exemptions, okay? And so we think there should be no area to a tree windbreak, that it's the farm owner that planted those trees, nurtured those trees, grew those trees, ensured that they stayed alive, kept the weeds down around them, this is the person, does that person have no rights that for the windbreak that they planted, you know? So, the emphasis has been on incentive rather than penalize. And this isn't by the crafting of the bylaw, you can provide, council can provide an incentive to plant trees without fear of prosecution or, you know, that being hamstrung in the future to make any changes. And I know the county is proposing living snow fences. And sometimes it's going to be along a highway or a county, and it's going to be a considerable length of, the county is going to find out that it is after half an acre, you might have to provide a gap in there so the landowner can still comply and that it's still manageable. So the county is going to get stuck at some point there. And I did a lot of reading on windbreaks, and when you create a gap in there, there's a terrific wind that goes through that gap, and you're going to have huge drifting in there. We also propose I noticed in the draft bylaw that there's only woodlot in there. In the old or the current bylaw, woodland is still in there, but it's been taken out. We propose that it be a woodland. So the Forestry Act only requires protection. This is all over Ontario for woodlands over 1 hectare. This half acre or 0.2 hectares is a made in Perth County bylaw. Now, Hennecan compared 7 counties. 5 of the 7 counties use 1 hectare. Okay, so 0.2 of a hectare in a 100-acre farm in an inconvenient spot with modern field equipment is a hindrance to agriculture in some cases. And if you follow the provincial planning statement, municipalities are instructed not to hinder agricultural operations. Okay, so what we've proposed is kind of a balance between the needs of agriculture and the needs of forestry conservation. And we can be your partners if you let us be your partners. And you know, and we will rise if we see that there is no repercussions of our actions. We will plant trees. So the other change is in the definitions. It's in your document. You can, if you have any questions, Anna, if you have anything to add, I don't know.
The only, my biggest thing I wanted to say is, if we can incentivize and get rid of the fear of repercussions or penalties, and let's embrace planting trees. And windbreaks, for example, 2 rows, the length of a farm is 2.2 acres if it's 9 meters wide. So 9 meters wide, 1 kilometer long is 2.2 acres. Why do we want to make that a woodlot? The best caretaker of that 2.2 acres is the guy who planted it. Okay. And if we're going to change the definition to a woodland, we're also changing the classification of the land, which now it's no longer arable land, it's now woodland. There's about a $30,000 difference in that. These are not incentives to plant trees. If we eliminate windbreaks from any size and let the owners be in charge, I think we'll see much more of them. And that's just one example of how we can incentivize more tree planting. I have a son-in-law who gives me a proposal for hazelnut plantation. I said, no. I said, if it's down to half an acre, it's a waste of time. And if I go bigger than that, I'm going to lose the land into woodland. I said, if the trees half die and I clean them up, I'm now setting myself up to go to court, and it's not worth the risk. So long and short is, I hope you can take the time, read the bylaw, read the changes. Please give us your questions. And I hope you can see how we want to plant trees. We want to protect woodlands over 1 hectare. And we need to get This stewardship concept, we all have a role to play, okay? And that we all have to get on board, okay? And let's get the consultation going. And we are consulting now with farm organizations and so on, just to get their feedback. And I hope you can try to see the excitement we have.
I would just like to make one extra point about the appeal committee. We propose that it be a freestanding, independent, unbiased committee. So it's in, we have it in the document, what we propose, what it could look like. It's up to council to decide, but thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions from council?
Your worship.
Oh, go ahead. Sure. I didn't see your hand. I didn't know what was going on here, you know? Go ahead.
Good evening, Henry. Lord knows I don't want to argue with you. I know that doesn't work. But I would like to point out that in the bylaw proposed by Perth County, it does exclude cultivated fruit or nut orchards from the woodlot definition. So you could, for example, have a hazelnut orchard and then decide to cut it back down because it's not going to be covered by woodlots so far as my understanding of this goes, unless James says that I'm wrong because you're better at this than me.
Through the chair, I defer to our county partners, but I do see the definition that you indicate there in section I with respect to cultivated fruit or nut orchard. I'm just not enough of an expert to say whether that specific type of tree would fit the definition.
Okay, any other questions from members of council? Okay, very good. Thank you for coming. I'm going to back up one step here, doing my usual Mackenzie Walls. We have a recommendation here from the, to do with the county delegation, and the recommendation is that the Council of the Municipality of West Perth receives the Forest Conservation Bylaw Review Update 2024-2025 report for information. Do we have a mover and seconder for that? Councillor Phelps and a seconder. Deputy Mayor. Any further discussion? Go ahead.
Mayor Mackenzie, how are we going to, as a council, send feedback then after we receive this report for information?
Well, as Tyler's over here, like there will be some opportunity at the public meetings, and we can certainly submit as a council comments as well. Tyler, I don't know whether you want to elaborate.
Yeah, so through the mayor, as Mayor Mackenzie stated, if there's any additional feedback, by all means, I would offer James's services here, forward any comments to James, and James can collate them and then provide them to the county. We'll take any comments, any feedback, and we'll be happy to put that into our consideration and report in the new year.
I would just add it, notwithstanding Tyler's comments, if someone feels very strongly, there's a notice of motion mechanism that a councillor could take to bring it forward to council to have a collective motion or something for direction as well.
Councillor Fournier again.
Just one quick question for Tyler, actually. I am quite curious in reference to what Mr. Koskamp and his colleague were saying. Like if a farmer puts in the investment to create a windbreak, why can't it be like 5 acres long, for example? It's his investment. Why should he lose control of this just because it's one tree too long? That seems a touch arbitrary, really.
If I may, what's fresh about this new bylaw that is being circulated is that there is now an appeal process. And it may very well be that, notwithstanding the size of a windbreak, it would be appropriate to grant an exemption through this committee that's being set up as part of this new exemption process. We're still struggling whether to call it an exemption or an appeal. But the idea is that there are, one size fits all is a very difficult type of law to live with. And most of them are that way. And what Huron County Council is trying to do, I believe, is to try to provide a path towards recognizing that in certain cases it's appropriate that an exemption be granted. Up until now, there's been no process to do that. So this bylaw, what it's doing is it's providing a mechanism that in special cases, such as the one you described, it may be appropriate to grant an exemption. And certainly everyone here, and myself included, understands the value of windbreaks and how important they are to increasing crop production and to making trees a more welcome sight in our community. So that's the reason I think that that exemption process is being put in place, because there are going to be situations where there are special considerations in a particular case that should allow for some flexibility.
Okay, I'm just going to make reference, and my count is you've done it twice tonight, and I just want to clarify it. And there's a little lead up story to this. I was at an event in Stratford one day, and I was introduced, it was the year I was warden, I was introduced as the warden of Huron County, and I was really impressed, you know? And I had to tell them, well, I was just the warden of Perth County. But you've mentioned twice in your talks tonight, reference to Huron County, but you really mean Perth County, I think.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
No, I just wanted to clarify that.
I'm actually a prosecutor for Huron County as well. And so at this time, late in the evening, I do get confused. Fortunately, I'm prosecuting during the day. So that does help a lot. But yes, thank you so much
No,
for correcting me. That
well, that's fine. That's fine. Anybody else? Oh, sorry.
Mayor
Councilor
McKenzie, could we just go over then, if we were, since we're getting into the specifics, about diameters of trees that can be harvested and can't be harvested, and then what constitutes clear cutting, and over a certain number of acres, then that's considered a clear cut and not appropriate in this proposed bylaw?
Certainly, and I don't know whether Marvin wants to come up and be involved in this too. And I guess it all starts off with permission to take the trees down to start with.
That's a good point. The first thing is to contact the county, and then that begins the process and clarifies everything for the landowner that's needed. Your specific question about clear cutting is, I mean, that's not included as an option in section 2 or section 3 of the bylaw. There are size limits there of trees, and as the trees get to that size limit, most commonly there is regeneration that has occurred over the years. So there are usually smaller trees there as well that are ready to take the place of the larger trees. And that's the intention, that we have woodlands and woodlots that will reproduce and maintain themselves with proper silvicultural practices. Does that sort of explain it? Yeah.
And then just on the, Mayor McKenzie, through you, just the diameter of a tree that's allowed to be harvested. Would you have an example of what the diameter of it would be?
Yeah, as I guess as an example, not necessarily related to windbreaks, but woodlots with sugar maple or hard maple, one of the common species we have in Perth County. The diameter limited is 18 inches in diameter, measured 18 inches above the ground. And Schedule A of the county's bylaw provides a listing of all the species with the diameter limits shown. Schedule A right at the back of the bylaw. So there isn't any confusion about that for loggers.
It's not in the paper copy, but it's in your digital copy.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And
Yeah.
I can certainly get a copy of the current bylaw to anybody that wants that.
Councillor Fournier again?
I'm sorry for speaking up again, but through your worship, I was wondering, do you have buy-in on the windbreak idea from the local conservation authorities? Because it was bugging my brain here for a minute, but Deputy Mayor, both of our conservation authorities have programs to help farmers plant trees for windbreaks, do we not? I was wondering, when it comes to comments on this bylaw, I think it might be judicious for us to look for comment from the conservation authorities concerned with programs like windbreaks in this area before we proceed with comment from the municipality. You can get a more of an expert opinion from a different viewpoint, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, and I'm going to look at the deputy mayor because he's number one, he's chair of Upper Thames, and number two, he was chair of the agriculture group that looked into this. So Dean, have you had any feedback from conservation authorities?
Through you, your worship, to answer the question, currently under the directives and the legislation given by the province, conservation authorities are no longer able to offer comment on natural heritage. It used to be that they could, but now that is no longer the case. The only time that a conservation authority can comment on natural heritage is if a level 2 services agreement is obtained from the municipality, whereupon that's completed, then they can provide the comment. It's under the old system or the old way of doing things, they could, but now they can't. That said, to your point, yes, conservation authorities do offer funding, technical assistance, and other means available to assist landowners should the landowner wish to engage in tree planting or other conservation methods on their property. I know in the stewardship program, the applications, the applicants are assisted by the conservation authorities in the preparation of their applications. So they are actively participating, assisting with the landowners that are looking for funding. And in the origins of the stewardship program, there was considerable discussion between the facilitator that the county had hired and the conservation authorities to discuss what the stewardship program intent was and how conservation authorities could participate in that. And the conservation authorities are quite satisfied with the way the stewardship program is currently operating. So hopefully that answers most of your questions.
Thanks, Dean. I didn't mean to throw you under the bus. That wasn't the intent. Sorry.
There's many layers to this onion, so I appreciate all questions that people might have.
Any other questions? Just, I guess a final comment from me that I've noticed over the years, and we've talked about windbreaks and that, and two things that I've noticed. Number one is the windbreak 9 times out of 10 has been planted by a previous owner on that farm who planted it with a purpose in mind, and then it changes hands and another person buys it. And so, because of, as Gerald has said, larger agricultural equipment wants to remove it. And this is where we run into some issues. The other thing that I've noticed, and I don't know what the answer is, because the county bylaws been in place for a long time, and the need for a permit has been there for a long time as well. And yet it's surprising the number of landowners that don't realize that you need a permit to take a tree down or a row of trees down on your own property. And I don't know how how you get that through. And certainly the process that we're going through now with a new bylaw will draw attention to that. But just an observation that I've had over the years.
If I could make a couple of comments on that, you're, I think, very right on with the need for education and reaching out to people to explain things like that. The other comment that you made is also very appropriate. The person who plants the trees, it's extremely rare that that's the person that wants to remove them. It's always a subsequent landowner or one after that, and properties change hands quite regularly. So the landowner who's planting the trees is very attached to the trees. And that's a good comment. The other thing, just to put out for thought, is with financial sort of support of tree planting of any type, whether it's windbreaks or larger block planting, would the county or conservation authorities be interested in giving financial support if those trees weren't going to be protected? That's just what I'd leave with you.
Fair enough. Thank you very much. No, we do have a mover, we have a seconder, and then we kind of got sidetracked here a little bit, didn't we? Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, any further discussion? And this is to do with accepting the report for information only. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. Thank you. And thank you to everybody that participated here tonight. I think we've had a good flow of information from both parties, and we appreciate you taking the time to come here tonight. We certainly do. So thank you. Back on track. The next item then on our agenda here is 6.7.1, and it's from our treasurers, a report on the third quarter financial update. So Wendy, I will turn the floor over to you.
Good evening, Mayor Mackenzie and Council. So before you is the third quarter variance report. This report provides the financial position of the municipality as of September 30th, 2025, representing 75% of the year. Overall, the municipality remains in a stable financial position, with most departments tracking within or below budget expectations. Two areas I wanted to highlight were the wages and benefits and the capital. So wages and benefits, we're sitting at approximately 31% of our annual budget remains, which means we're below budget. And for capital, at the time of running the report, we had spent 1.7 million approximately out of 6.17 million of the approved capital expenditures. So we're looking at a few carry forwards from this year, so that will all make sense once those come forward and put those numbers together. The report also went into each department and kind of highlighted some variances within there. Don't necessarily want to go line by line, but happy to take any questions that council has on there. And just as a summary, that we're in a good financial position, and any additional revenues and anything unspent will cover any overages that we're expecting. So if there's any questions on the report, I'd be glad to take them.
Okay, thanks, Wendy. Councillor Foster?
For staff salaries and wages, are we not slightly higher for staff salaries and wages in the fall due to like the increased ice time, like rec staff for ice as well as like roadworks and everything? So should we not be expecting to see a little more than 25%?
So your pool and your seasonal workers do come in your all seasons. So every season has some seasonal workers. And so I would say that we're in a good position with our wages and benefits. And looking at it overall, I would say we've got some work to do on the actuals and getting them posted to the right cost centers. But as far as where we are in the budget, I think we're in good position.
Just don't pray for a 3-day winter storm around Christmas time, okay?
We'll get 3 or 4 of those leading up to Christmas.
Any questions for Wendy on the quarter statement here? Okay, all right, thanks, Wendy. We do have a recommendation here that we'll follow through with, and it's that the municipality of West Perth receives the 2025 third quarter financial update report for information. We have a mover and second that for, or mover and seconder for that. Moved by Councillor Phelps, seconded by Councillor Duck. Questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Thank you. Wendy, the OMPF is public knowledge at this stage, is it not? I just wondered if you want to share with council. Like I know we received that and we were told that it was confidential, but I think the press has it now. It's been in the paper, I believe.
It was just announced.
So it's public, I think, is it not?
I believe it's on their website. You just give me a moment, I'll double check that, but I do have a report coming on November 17th. But we are anticipating more funding, an increase in funding. So let me just click on the link before I
Yeah,
say.
no, we can leave it at that.
Okay.
We are anticipating a little bit more than what we got last year. And I did get the number, but if it's not public knowledge yet, I don't want to divulge that. And Wendy, we can bring it. But I do know I've had a call about it and they seem to know the numbers for everybody. So I'm assuming that there's been a media release of some kind, but if we're not sure, we'll just leave it at that. That's fine. No, okay. The next item is James's department, the clerk's department, and it's a request for some street names from West Mitchell Development. So James?
Thank you through the chair. So this report is to seek council approval for some new street names within the West Mitchell Development subdivision that's located off of Wimpole Street. The developers requested names for several new streets located on blocks 25 through 29 and 33 of lot 55 on Plan 341. So the proposed names are Rosewood Drive, Cedarfield Street, and Evergreen Street. Staff from both the municipality and the counties have reviewed the names to ensure there's no duplications or conflicts within the county currently. I'd note that the developer's original submission did include Mapleview Drive, but that was replaced with Rosewood Drive, not due to direct conflicts, but there are some existing similarities here in the county. No other issues or concerns were identified, so therefore staff are recommending that council approve the chosen names proposed by the developer. Happy to answer any questions.
Great. Questions for James on that report? Councillor Foster?
Isn't the proposed name for the road across on development across from Tim Hortons Rose? Or what was it? So would that not be kind of similar in nature to Rosewood?
Through the chair, that was not identified by the County of Perth as a name that's been selected for that subdivision at this time. So perhaps it's been talked about, suggested, but that is not an existing proposed approved road name here that we have.
Dan is going
I'm
to
more than happy to
look it up.
take it
See.
back.
Yeah, Dan's going to see if it's actually there. You could be right, Alex, but
We
then
have,
is it close enough or not? I don't know.
So, so going back on my notes from the review, a Rose Lane is a proposed private road in Mitchell that has not been put forward, that has not been approved. Rosewood Drive does not match any existing private lower tier county or provincial thoroughfare road names within the GIS database. The addition of Rose and the suffix of Drive avoids duplication with any phonetic similarities with existing names. The proposed name of Rosewood Drive is acceptable based on this.
Thank you, James. Clarifies that? Okay. Any other questions with regards to the names? Okay, we have a recommendation here that the municipality of West Perth approve the request for the proposed street names in West Mitchell Development subdivisions, blocks 25, 26, 28, 29, and 33 being part of lot 55, registered plan 341 being Rosewood Drive, Cedarfield Street, and Evergreen Street. We have a mover and seconder for that recommendation, moved by Councillor O'Donnell, second by Councillor Chessel. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, if any, that is carried. The next item then is correspondence. We do have a letter. Perth County OPP Detachment Board, right? If you wish, yeah, you or Steve or both of you, or is it fine, yeah. No, go ahead, James.
Yeah, so there isn't too much to explain other than what the letter asks for, but the Perth County OPP Detachment Board is asking all the municipalities to consider helping out and possibly approaching at Roma the relevant ministries to see if we can get more support for the MCERT program. Not just to continue it, but for more support. There isn't enough funding for it. It's a well-used, overused program that we have, and overused meaning there's more need than what we have funds available for it. We don't have, sorry, I'll rephrase that. The MCERT group spends, I think it's 2 days a week, I think, riding with the OPP in the municipality, and they work with the OPP to reduce de-escalate. There's the word again. So they de-escalate things before they get out of hand. They'll work at the hospital to try and reduce the time that the OPP have to be there. If they can settle things down, it makes a big difference for the people involved and a lot less burden on the OPP. And the need for this is just increasing more and more and more. And if we don't get more support from the province as far as funding goes, you're going to see that it's just going to cost us more in the end. Probably not a great explanation, but that's what I have.
Okay. Anything further, Jim? Okay. We do have a recommendation here, but my 10 cents worth here, Steve, and I did mention it to James as well. If you want to get a better bang for your buck, usually the Southwest Wardens meet with a group of ministers at Roma. So you would have more than one minister, or you would have the capability of talking to more than one minister, get a better bang for your buck than to set up 2 or 3 meetings with other ministers. And I realize that not all Perth County is all OPP, but still there would be enough. And I realize you'd have to go through the warden to achieve that, but I don't think that would be an impossibility. But I just throw that in for information. So I'll read the recommendation here, unless anybody has any other questions, Steve here. So the recommendation here is that the Council of Municipality of West Perth supports a joint or mutual delegation on behalf of the Perth County OPP Detachment Board at the 2026 Rural Ontario Municipal Association with the appropriate ministers to advocate for continued and expanded provincial funding for the Mobile Crisis Response Team. The MCRT model is employed by Perth County OPP and other Ontario OPP detachments. Mover and seconder for that, moved by Councillor Harold, seconded by Councillor Feltz. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. Now, the next item is West Perth Village with regards to the Tailgate Music Festival. The 2026. I'm looking who wants to field this one? James.
Sure. Through the chair, tailgate? Item? All right, tailgate. So, as you can see, we have the recommendation letter that's been put before you for this evening. The big change, of course, is a 2-day event. So, that's the change that you're seeing in the recommendation that's before you this year. Otherwise, the recommendation does remain the same as you saw for the previous year's event. We have broken those recommendations up into sections for separate consideration, should council wish to do so. The details of the event are laid out in their letter there, and happy to take any questions.
Okay, questions with regards to that? I will ask Jim or Shirley, do you have anything further that you'd like to add? To the mic, and then everybody can hear you.
Okay, I'm on. All right, just want to make sure, because in there, you only had that to close the road the one night. It would be closed both nights, but from unallowed time to allowed time.
Through the chair, we've got that all good to
Okay.
go in the recommendation for this evening. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions? So the recommendation, it's a fairly lengthy one here, but we'll read it through and go from there. So the Council Municipality of West Perth approved the request from West Perth Village to declare the Tailgate Music Festival held at Ketterson Park on September the 18th, 2026 from 5 till 2 a.m., 5 p.m. to 2 a.m., and September the 19th, 2026 from 3 p.m. to 2 a.m. to be of municipal significance and or community significance, and advise the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario that it has no objection to it taking place, and that the council grant the West Perth Village Tailgate Music Festival an exemption to the noise and nuisance bylaw number 61, 2024. So that's the first recommendation, and we can deal with that one first. We get a mover and seconder for that. Moved by Councilor O'Donnell, second by Councilor Chessel. Any further discussion on that? Okay, I don't see any hands going up. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Now, the next one is that the Council of Municipality of West Perth approved the request from West Perth Village to close Wellington Street from Roland Street to Waterloo, and to close Arthur Street from Henry Street to Waterloo from 5 p.m. on Friday, September the 18th, until 2 a.m. on Saturday, September the 19th, and we're going to have to change that, aren't we? James, I'll let you.
Thank
read
you.
the
And through the
updated
chair,
one.
and the addition is a 3 p.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, or excuse me, yes, Saturday, September 19th. So again, covering that evening portion of the Saturday event and amounting to a 2-day road closure. Thank you.
Okay, so the recommendation is there as amended. We've added that in so that everybody's aware. So do we have a mover and seconder for that? Moved by Councillor Phelps, seconded by Councillor Foster. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. And the last recommendation to deal with this is that the Council of Municipality of West Perth approve the request from West Perth Village to waive the fees of the Mitchell Arena Community Center and Ketterson grounds for the West Perth Village Tailgate Music Festival on September the 18th and 19th, 2026. Any comments? No? We'll get it on the floor, and then if anybody has any questions, we can go there. So we have a mover and seconder for that. We're waiving the fees, moved by Councillor Foster, seconded, Councillor O'Donnell. Okay, any question with regards to that? Go ahead. Oh, Councillor Duff, go ahead.
The letter just said reduction in fees, and then this is waiving. Was it an ask from the West Perth Village to waive them altogether then after, or just something we decided to offer back? Would be my only question.
You mean initially, this? maybe I did too. Was it? James, can you help me?
Through the chair, we can pull up the original letter. You may very well be correct that the original letter requested a reduction. And certainly we can have staff.
Yeah, we understand from last year that we had kind of chatted that it might be the last year you would help with reducing the fees. So we did put reduction in there because we understand going to 2 nights, that's asking a lot, but if you are willing to do both nights, we would not be upset about that either.
Well, I think there's room for discussion. I guess the question, and it's maybe an unfair question to bring up at this stage of the game here, but like to do that for 2 nights, like what costs are we looking at? Would you know, Nick, like what it would be? I don't want to put anybody on the spot here, like just ballpark it and we don't necessarily have to know tonight either.
Through you, Mayor McKenzie, give or take $10,662
For 2 nights.
for 2 nights.
Okay, all right. No, fair enough. Yeah, good. Thanks, Nick. Okay, so I think as Shirley has kind of indicated, I think there's room maybe there to negotiate and talk with the committee. I don't think we're saying yes, or I don't think we're saying no, and I think they're accepting whatever we wish to do. Doug?
Can I make a motion? We just defer until we can look at some costs. And when we're doing budgeting right now, it's a good time. Like, you don't need an answer tonight, and then we could bring it back. If that's okay, then we can get some answers too.
Okay, I think we did have a mover and seconder, did we not, on that one? Was it, I thought it was Phil and just a motion to defer.
Through the chair, a motion to defer would take precedent of a motion on the floor currently, so a seconder would be required. However, a motion to defer would
Okay,
be in order.
Foster and Councillor Duck to defer. Oh, sorry, yeah, Doug May, sorry. No, so Doug, all right, so
motion.
you made the motion and we can take whoever, Councillor Duck as a seconder, okay? And well, and I think, yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
Just making sure you're just deferring the payment part, right? We are guaranteed to do it 2 nights. Okay, just making sure on that. Yep,
The fee.
yes, yep, and that's okay. Yeah, because we're speaking with agents and we want to make sure
No,
we can continue with that.
yeah,
The fee, we're okay for it to be deferred.
yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you.
No, I think we just want to have a little bit of information as we go into budget season, what we can do here. So, anything further? No, we're good?
No,
We're
through
good?
the chair, we're good. Yeah.
Okay, so then the motion, it was moved and seconded, that we defer it. So all those in favor of a deferral? Opposed, if any, that's carried. Okay, thank you. And as to when it comes back, okay, no, that's fine, 24th of November. The other, item here, Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, changes to the Clean Water Act. The Career Pathways and Destinations event invitation at Mitchell High School is there. And there's also a letter from West Perth Village, thank you letter for the tailgate party for this year. Recommendation is that the Council Municipality of West Perth accept the correspondence as information. Moved by Councillor Harold, seconded by Councillor O'Donnell. All those in favor? Opposed, if any, that's carried. All right, brings us down to Councillor Duck and talking on the Ontario Recreation Facilities Association Conference.
Yeah, so just a quick overview of the symposium. We were at Director Larson and I for the Aging Recreation Infrastructure Symposium hosted by ORFA. So just a clicker. Yeah, so I did just want to reiterate, these are not personal opinions that I'm presenting here today. They are just information that was presented, and I'm sharing it the way the presenter presented it and I received it. So again, it's not a endorsement of an idea or anything like that, just a thought to be shared. Okay, so the problem many municipalities are facing, as we all know, we're not alone. 2,703, the approximate ICE aquatic and community centers in Ontario. $45.1 billion is the estimated replacement value for these said facilities in Ontario, and approximately 30 to 35% of the Canadian facilities have the same, or sorry, have condition ratings of fair to very poor. So just a quick overlay of how we got here. In May 1975, Government of Ontario introduced its first lottery program, Wintario. Wintario, in its initial years, was holding lotteries across the province, and these funds were 100% solely going to recreation facilities in Ontario. The OLG celebrated its 50th anniversary in 2025, and those numbers are significantly lower now. What recreation facilities actually receive, it's I believe less than 1%. So basically, in short order, the province erected 50 new recreation facilities between the mid-70s and 80s, ours obviously being a part of that. Wintario was discontinued in 89 as the lottery revenues would no longer go into these grant projects, but into said general revenue fund, taking care of a lot of different things. When Wintario could no longer stay at help the projects it once had, so it was discontinued. The final draw was held in 1990 in Sault Ste. Marie. Basically just a little bit of the facts. At this time, when they were building these new facilities, the cost of building was $500,000, so significantly less than what we're dealing with today. Additional projects were funded in the 1960s through the Centennial Fund, obviously 100 years of Canada. And then, today it's estimated that less than 0.5% of the OLG proceeds from the lottery go towards recreation and recreation facilities. So there's just a couple of other presenters that talked about risks, different things we should monitor, make sure we're doing really well. But these buildings obviously were built before current codes were enacted. It certainly leaves you open to different liabilities and whatnot. The main focus on this presentation was basically just ensuring that you're covering those liabilities, having the adequate replacement cost insurance versus what it actually costs to build, stuff like that. So just a couple other notes. It's important, I think, as a council, we support our SLT and staff on facility repairs, never suggest putting off anything safety related. We make sure we're documenting our inspections, work orders, stuff like that, the best way to protect ourselves in situation. It was also suggested to put away 2.3% of the replacement cost of a building annually for maintenance. So obviously a pretty significant amount of money when you start calculating those types of numbers. And then Chris Snell from Listowel gave a really neat presentation on the Listowel arena and whatnot, but did say that roof glass is the biggest cause of recreation facility failure in Ontario. Obviously making sure we're ensuring our buildings are adequately taken care of in the wintertime, not having significant snow load. So again, community centers are obviously more than just hockey arenas. They provide a number of services to the community: sports, recreation, service clubs, fairs, festivals, weddings, buck and does, emergency shelters, and so on and so forth. It's obviously pertinent we keep that in mind when we're making decisions, that it's not just a sports facility. And a key component was basically either in a renovation or a new build, don't lose the amenities that we're used to having now. Obviously, people expect those plus some. So just a couple other notes. These are more, I'm not going to touch too much on this because this is more complete rebuild and I don't want to necessarily go down that road tonight. But fun little fact, when the Steve Kerr Memorial Complex was built in 2017, it was built at an approximate cost of $225 per square foot. Today it's suggested it's around $700 per square foot. So again, in short order, we've seen significant increases. Just some other things to be considered when we are looking at these projects. Who's going to manage them, who's going to lead them, ensuring that we are using, our staff to the best of their capabilities and not pulling them from projects to day-to-day tasks and stuff like that. Just ensuring that you've got, whether it's outside help or people put in place to ensure everything's taken care of and the other things that are not forgotten. Just a couple of thoughts for consideration. Just be 100% clear on your needs versus your wants. Develop an accommodation plan for users during construction and be realistic on timelines for construction. Don't sugarcoat anything. Basically, it's better to be honest and say what's the truth than lead somebody to believe something that's not going to be the case. Have we considered the long-term goals in planning for the municipality? The master plan goes till 2034. What can we expect beyond that? Rooftop solar panels was another unique thing that was talked about quite a bit. Is there offsetting cost benefits in their lifespan, or is it, maybe just a taboo type thing? Keeping immediate neighbors of the facility abreast of what's going on, any disturbances that may occur, sounds, noises, any financial implications or other implications that should be considered to those that are directly impacted. And staffing requirements is obviously going to be a big one. No matter what we choose, if there's expansion, if there's new arena, stay the status quo, how much extra staff are we going to need to be having hired, having on duty at any given time? One thing I think we've all decided is we need to start contributing to an immediate or to a reserve fund immediately in the next budget, obviously for long-term planning. And municipalities are certainly finding it harder to get grants for shovel-ready projects. Instead, the upper echelons are looking to give government funds toward projects that are already underway. So I'm going to just skip on this for now and I can send this to everybody later. A lot of fundraising and funding things were talked about. Will fundraising be internal, external, or a combination? It was said it was very important to establish fundraising targets from the start and not change those. Identify your goals and stick with them through and through. Develop and stick to sponsorship levels and recognition is obviously what I was just saying, your naming rights, everything like that. You don't want to start taking side deals, this and that, because it just doesn't work. And be very cautious of in-kind donations. A neat thing, I know we've talked about it around the table before, the donation solicitation companies. When the Steve Kerr was done, they did all their research, their calculations and whatnot. They figured there'd be about $4 million in the listable in North Perth community. They ended up finding 5.5. So I do believe that there is a lot of value in that, one way or another. They said fees were very reasonable. Company was easy to deal with. Another thought, getting maybe minor sports, a Craft Hockeyville campaign. We had a presentation from the rec coordinator in Elliott Lake. They were a successful winner a few years back, and it, was really successful for them, obviously, and brought some exposure to their area. Looking towards major corporate sponsors as well. The one thing they said was Rogers came up to bat for them, $3 million in a naming rights package. So again, just an example. It's nothing obviously set in stone, but just looking at other different sort of out of the box, kind of abnormal ways of getting funding. Just some pictures here from the national conference. I'll send those around. Just they're kind of hard to see at this point. We have the motivational speaker, Jeff Adams. He's a Paralympian lawyer, obviously a motivational speaker, just hammering home on accessibility and how important it is to everyone, keeping in mind that everyone's needs aren't necessarily, or one set of needs is not the same for everybody else, and to ask experts, get lots of opinions and seek outside advice and think outside the box when you're doing things. But it was a very neat presentation on his life and just some things that I'd like to see going forward after. Obviously, when we're looking at these things, they'll be, and I propose them in the budget as well, but just some concrete recreation structures that are set in place can be used year round, sensory play area, perhaps some more dedicated pickleball courts and some outside fitness activity equipment. Thank you for listening to my long-winded speech, and if you have any questions, I will happily take them.
Hey, thank you, Councillor Duck. Questions for Councillor Duck on his presentation? Deputy Mayor?
Yep, through you, Mayor McKenzie. Thanks, Councillor Duck, for that informative presentation. I just missed it. The new build costs you said were formerly $225 a square foot, now presently $750 a square foot. How far back are we, like that 225 per square foot? Like how many years ago was that number?
Yeah, so it was 700, not 750 for the now build, and then that was the Steve Kerr Memorial Complex build in 2017.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor O'Donnell?
Through the mayor, thanks, Councillor Duck, for your presentation here. The 30% of the arenas that were in the poor condition, what were their next steps, I guess? Were they gonna replace or renovate?
Yeah, there wasn't a clear cut, perhaps moving forward way. They were just statistics that were presented to us at the start of the presentations. A lot of them are facing different hurdles. I mean, some of them, one guy from Carlton Place, he was talking about their pool and walking track facility. You know, we had another presentation on an arena, sorry. So yeah, they're not just like, I think when I say the 30 to 35%, they're a varying degree of different problems, and councils are taking a very different you know, approach to each one of them. I don't think that there's a clear cut way, but I think that the consensus among everybody that was in the room was very similar, and I think Nick would probably agree. It's about maintaining them or repairing them, but leaving them obviously in disrepair, as we all know, is not a solution or an answer. So yeah, I don't know if I've answered that for you, but.
Anybody else? Question? Doug, go ahead.
Just comment on, it's interesting, Winterio, I realized they were kind of involved in arena. I didn't know that was the money was just actually dedicated there. But it's amazing they have Lotto Max twice a week and it gets up to $60-80 million. Yet the Lottery Corporation can't find some money, which is run by the government, to donate to some communities out of that. So it's kind of just an interesting comment that they're going to drop, like they dropped Ontario, and they're not going to do that, but yet they're making millions of dollars a week on that and giving it away. And they're not giving it all away, but they should be designating some to some community betterment projects.
The just as a side note, like the Trillium grants that are out there, they're also from casinos, and it's just a fraction of the percentage that they take in. And I forget how much a year it is that they have that they designate, that we designate out to for recreation or municipalities. But yeah, it's big numbers. Anybody else? Questions? Okay, I think we have a motion here that yeah, the Council Municipality of West Perth accept the council report as information. Mover and seconder for that, Councillor O'Donnell, Councillor Phelps. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. So we do have a couple bylaws. One is bylaw number 63 is to enter into an agreement with Maitland Valley, who were here at the second last meeting. Bylaw 64 is an amendment to bylaw number 54 to stop up and a series of streets here. And it's kind of convoluted here, but we will mention them all unless you want to explain a little more, James.
Sure, I can give the bird's eye on that one. So this bylaw is necessary to facilitate access for the next phase of the development in that area. The municipality's engineers reviewed the request and recommended that we proceed here at this time. So the remaining closures remain in effect for that area. So again, lifting a portion of the road closure to facilitate access for the developer. The developer's agent is online as well this evening, should council have any questions.
Okay. Any questions with regards to that? Okay, we'll move on then The recommendation that we have to deal with these is that the Council of Municipality of West Perth give first and second reading to bylaw number 63 and 64 this third day of November. We have a mover and seconder for those two. Moved by Councillor Fournier, seconded by Deputy Mayor Trinkowski. Questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. And finally, that the Council Municipality of West Perth give third and final reading to bylaw number 63 and bylaw 64 this third day of November. Mover and seconder for that, Stu. Councillor O'Donnell, Councillor Phelps. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. There's number of upcoming events there. Oh, yes, we need to discuss the one partway down, November the 11th, the wreaths for Remembrance Day. We have a wreath for each of the wards, so Fullerton, Hibbert, Logan, and Mitchell. We have a wreath for the town of, or the municipality of West Perth. We have a wreath for Earth. So anything? I think that's got it. Oh, the county. Yes, we do have one for the county. So traditionally, I do the one for West Perth as mayor. Dean, as a rule, does the one for the county as the deputy mayor. And then we have Mitchell. We alternate it back and forth so that in a 4-year term, everybody's had a chance to do it at least once. So I don't know whose turn it is. That's why I'm bringing it up. Like whoever did it last year, can somebody, the other party can do it for this year. So we'll start with, let's start with Mitchell. Is it Murray's turn? Okay. Okay, we'll say Murray. Yeah, okay, so it's looked after. Logan? Okay, so Ryan will do that one. Fullerton? Okay. All right, Alex we'll look after that one then. Yeah, okay. That leaves Hibbert.
I think Andrew will do Hibbert and I will do Earth.
Okay, all right. So we've got that all. Does that work for you, Andrew?
Through your wish, I do work that day and I'm starting to have trouble getting time off because of the number of things I take time off for. But maybe if I had a nice letter from the mayor saying, pretty please, could Andrew come to the parade? It would help.
I think we can get staff to draft up a nice letter for you. At Remembrance Day is next Tuesday, I do believe, so we have to do that fairly quick. But yeah, like we don't want you getting in trouble at work over that, so. Yeah, yeah. Okay, all right. Yeah, we'll look after a little note for you to take and see if that works. And it's really they want you there, I believe, at 20 after 10. And then you walk up to the cenotaph for the service at 11, and you're usually back before 12 anyways, as a rule. So, well, yeah, and it quite often has been a miserable day. The odd time it's nice, but it can be kind of a crappy day. So, okay, our next regular council meeting then is November the 17th. The economic development mixer at the office here is going to be November the 19th from 4 to 7. And I did mention before about the Career Pathways and Destinations Night at the high school. That's on the 27th from 2 to 7. And I think that's, the Santa Claus Parade is December the 5th. I'll mention that as well. So I don't believe, but there's any notions or notices of motion. So we do have is there anything under other business? Not aware of anything. So we do have a closed session to deal with. three items, shared services, the Heron Industrial Park, and Drainage Tribunal, and legal updates. So the recommendation that we have is that the Council of Municipality of West Perth proceed into closed session under Section 239 of the Municipal Act as amended at 8:47 to address the matters related to a trade secret or scientific, technical, commercial, or financial information that belongs to the municipality or local board. And litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. So a motion that we go into closed session at 8:47, moved by Councillor Chessel, seconded by Councillor O'Donnell. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. Okay, we're in closed session, basically to discuss some legal matters and also an update on the industrial park that we're currently working on. So those were the issues that needed our attention at this time. I think that's basically got it. If I find the right page here. Pages are sticking. Okay, so we're down to the confirmatory bylaw. And it's bylaw number 65, 2025, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council of the corporation of the municipality of West Perth be read a first and second time this third day of November. Mover and seconder, Councillor Foster, Councillor Fournier. All those in favor? Opposed, if any, that's carried. And then that bylaw 65, 2025, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council of the corporation of the municipality of West Perth be read a third time and finally passed this third day of November. Moved by Councillor O'Donnell, seconded by Deputy Mayor Trinkowski. All those in favor? Opposed, if any, that's carried. And finally, a motion that we do adjourn the West Perth Council meeting at 10:08 PM. Moved by Councillor Phelps, seconded by Councillor Harold. All those in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you.